down the door.
Oh,
I'm seeing a lot of people from the larger urban areas that are kind of day tripping where we are. So I think as soon as they open the gates downstate, we're going to be busy.
oh, good, good.
Yeah, God
Yeah,
willing.
because I think there's a pent up demand. And are the
Oh,
hotels opening and everything?
they are. I was just telling Al, we have like three major hotel, a Hyatt, a Marriott, and a Hilton, and they were down to a skeleton staff of three people for the whole business for about 12 weeks, and they're now just starting to sell rooms again. They're doing the 48-hour gap in between checkouts.
Oh,
It's a whole thing, yeah.
that's complicated.
It
Yeah.
is. It's just, I've got tape lines on the floor of my store. Uh, Everywhere you go is pretty much the same thing up here.
Wow. And Lucia, I don't know if she can speak because often she comes in at night. Well,
Hi,
unless
Sean.
Italy changed, but her area was pretty well quite hit with COVID, but I guess they're doing okay now. Lucia, can you take the mic at all or tell us what's going on in the chat? I think she was in Milan. Um, she did just say hello to us. So. Janet, how's Newport News doing? Hi.
We are doing awesome. We are considered essential workers,
Oh,
so
great. Yeah.
our work source has stayed 100% employed. Anybody that could do their job from home, they sent us all home. So I'm in the nuclear and environmental group, and 60% of our employees are working from home now.
Yeah, and you said that you were having a hard time signing on. Everybody was taking turns.
Yes, they actually upgraded our servers so that now we have no downtime, no lag time. It all works.
Oh, good,
It
good.
did take it did take a few weeks though. It was
Yeah.
pretty painful.
Oh, and please type in the chat, everybody, too. Selby said he should be able to come. Yeah, and I did upgrade the island, and I uh, wanted to ask you folks about the fall.
Oh
But
gosh.
let's see. Oh, and Scott, well, we give a few more people some time. You want to talk about Scott has suddenly become the man of the world in terms of getting a whole bunch of people and conferences that he's going to. Do you want to tell everybody about your
Um,
conferences?
yeah, those kind of, I'm as surprised, I think, as anybody else at this point. But no, I'd submitted for a couple of conferences back before everything kind of went sideways. No, wait a minute, I have to think of the acronyms. There's so many in my head right now. Educational Media and Immersive Learning, EDIL, which was going to be a live conference in Amsterdam, and I was submitting to present virtually just because, much as I love Amsterdam, I'm not getting on a plane right now. And that, right, the date I think the submissions were due is when all the restrictions started kicking in pretty much across Europe that already hadn't done it in the United States. And they've been scrambling. So I'd totally forgotten about that submission. But in the meantime, I'd submitted for the Immersive Learning Research Network, ILRN, which was going to be in San Diego, I believe. And they were a little more together. They went virtual pretty quick. And I got accepted to that, which was great. I'm presenting a paper, a virtual learning environment for a visual arts curriculum. So that's a work in
Hooray!
progress poster. Yay! And
Yay! I want to link to that. We need to chat because I'm doing a showcase, a virtual showcase, and I want
oh,
to put
cool.
you on my wall. Okay, that you're part of. Like we're connected in the virtual world. I want these people. Yay! So
Yeah, that
exciting.
means I have to fill out my profile and connect. We have to be profile friends. Um, and I've got to do that. So that's Immersive Learning Research Network, and I'm doing a poster for a work in progress because my curriculum is still technically a work in progress until somebody pays me to run it. And so, by the way, if anybody hears anything, and then the other one was a paper more geared specifically to my curriculum, the development thereof. So it was just a paper on Shadowglen and the methodology behind it, and why and what and wherefore. The idea that this is a curriculum that's targeting the development, and this is my push on everything that I put out there, that whatever curriculum you're using in virtual reality, you are simultaneously targeting meta-literacies, which are what are contributing to the development, creation, and contribution to online collaborative environments, whether it be work, school, or whatever. So while you're learning art, you're also learning technical media and art literacy all at the same time. So those are the two papers, and they're literally back to back. As it turns out, I got notified for EDIL yesterday, and that conference is 10 days from now, that they upgraded my presentation to a 15-page paper, and I don't have one written. So,
minor detail.
yeah, so, you know, I finished my video upload for ILRN, which I'm going to upload tonight, but that's done because they're doing, for that conference, they're doing I guess a video pre-teaching segment for each of your things where you can present pre-recorded data and whatnot, followed up by a live segment of 7 minutes or so, and then they have a quick Q&A at the end of your segment. So I just finished my video for that. I have no idea what I'm doing for the other conference, and I just hope they're not on the same day.
Oh, yeah, Bethany, what are you doing? We have to go.
Yeah, well, I'm well, number one, I'm having trouble with my camera. This is really strange. I can't cam around and get a full view of all of us, so I apologize. I'm at least I'm sitting down, but I would appreciate if one of you could take a picture that you could send me. I'm sure I have some somewhere, but I'm developing a showcase. In fact, let me grab it and you guys can look at it. It's still in development. I have until this weekend to finish it. And this is in the Frames platform, which is Verbella. I'm going to send you a link to it because you guys can take a look at it. It's really cool because it's WebEx, it's a web-based virtual environment. You can go in on a desktop or you can go in with a VR headset. So it is kind of cool to go in with an Oculus Rift and be able to walk around the space. But I want to put you guys, I was going to put a little blurb about Eileen, about what you do with SUNY Empire State and with your program here. And then Scott, because you're presenting at iLearn, I definitely would love a picture of you and a little bio that I could put on there as well, as that you guys are virtual world colleagues of mine. Because what I'm showcasing is virtual communities of practice through the Community Virtual Library and VCARA, which is San Jose State. And let me just send this link to you. Let me just grab it real quick. And if anybody was interested in creating your own frame, I'd put that on my wall as well. But let me just send you the link to my frame. You don't have to look at it now, but you can go in there anytime and take a look at it.
Yeah, and I'm going to try to remember to always capture the chat by the end.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It works a lot like Mozilla Hubs. However, I had heard the developer talk I just watched a video the other night of him talking at ISTEVEN in Second Life back in February, and I saw him in my frame the other day. I was working on it and I recognized his name and I emailed him and we chatted a little bit, and I was saying, yeah, I put in this huge model that I compressed and I put in Mozilla Hubs and I couldn't make it work in this frame, and he says, yeah, it doesn't have it's good. I really like it, but I think Mozilla Hubs is going to be better long term, and if we're interested in using VR kind of stuff. So anyways, not that I'll ever stop loving our desktop virtual worlds, because that's definitely not going to happen, but anyways, that's it.
Well, and I hope you'll come and tell us more about these frames. So frames means you can access this through a link, Can you
Yeah,
explain?
yeah. You can click on that link. So all of you should just open it up in a browser and bookmark it so you can look at it. But you literally click on connect, and then you're in a virtual environment. There's limits, but that you can see I've got, and I haven't put any videos in there. There's a limit on the video. I have to put in there's no link to like YouTube, but I could share my screen. There's a big screen in there that I covered up with a sign. But I could like live stream my desktop and web talk with my webcam to whoever's in that environment. But you can go in on any device, and then you could also go in with a VR headset. So if you went in with an Oculus Rift,
Oh.
you would open up, I think almost always, it always works better on Firestorm for a VR headset, or Firefox, I mean. But yeah, it's very cool. And so if all of us, went in there at the same time, voice works and chat and all that other stuff. It's cool. It's got limits, it doesn't take the place of these big virtual environments we're in right here, but it's cool. But frame is from Verbella, which is a proprietary platform. It's VR. It looks like Second Life. It's expensive. This is the free version, and Verbella is like $200 a month. And like I said, I just talked to the developer, and he was totally admitting, yeah, Mozilla Hubs is way ahead, and Mozilla Hubs is, free open source, right? So if I'm going to do a web-based VR thing, it's going to be, I'm more inclined towards Mozilla Hubs. But yeah, so I want to put you guys, I want to I've got some other pictures, Eileen, of meetings here or whatever, but I want to showcase that in my community that I work with, the community virtual library with, because sometimes Val will come to these meetings or you come to our stuff, that I'm really promoting that we're a huge virtual worlds. We're a collection of different educators doing interesting things, and we collaborate together and we visit each other's environments, and so I want to showcase that there's those of us who work in desktop virtual environments. We're not giving this up for VR, right? So I want to put you and Scott, I'll definitely put a little showcase about you because you're presenting at iLearn. Also, so Pat from VCARA, which is the San Jose State's Virtual Center for Archives and Records Administration, which is in Second Life. Pat and I are hosting this frame, so her stuff's in there. And also Digital Citizenship Museum from Marie in Kitely is in there. And then also Val is going to lead an immersive event that was accepted by iLearn. So if you guys can attend that, there's going to be 3 tours on the 21st, which is unfortunately Father's Day Sunday, but I think it's 9, 11, and 6 p.m. So Val will be leading people to the Marie's Digital Citizenship Museum here on Cookie 2 in Kitely. So, yeah. So that's it for me, you guys. I wish I could scan
This is
out
great,
and see
Bethany. I've been playing in here
here.
looking. This is such a great. Is this what they're using? Is this the format they're going to be using for iLearn?
It's my understanding, yes. If you're here, I
Cool.
can see that you're in the room probably, and I'll hear an echo.
And now you're here. Yeah, we're echoing.
Ooh,
Okay.
yeah. I'll back out. But yes, they told us they were going to do it in Mozilla Hubs at first, and then they're telling us, I don't know. They had originally said Mozilla Hubs, so I started building in Mozilla Hubs, and then suddenly I got an email that it's here's your Mozilla frame, you're going to build it in here, and I'm like, oh my God, it's so much work to, just doing this stuff, and I've got to finish now this week. But yeah, it's kind of cool.
Well, and I want to say too that Val Hill, or Val Librarian, she
Mhm.
did apologize. She couldn't make it. Now that everyone's learning Zoom, she had a conflict with that. But she said she'll hopefully be able to join us after the summer. But she had to go to her daughter-in-law's music class that she was running. Was it music or art? So anyway, but so maybe we can get over there and see her. And I think I'm doing a presentation too at ILRN. But it's just, and I don't know if you can see me. I have a child avatar right now, and it's too late to get changed. But, so I was playing with different avatars. But I definitely am looking forward to that conference so I can hop around and meet a lot of different people. So,
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really good environment. Like there's supposed to be like, I don't know, thousands of people attending. And then there's a bunch from the that VR Educators in VR conference. And those of us who work in this desktop kind of environment, we are underrepresented. That's why I kept saying everybody needs to try and go to this. And so if you're going to be at it and presenting something, Eileen, I think that's awesome. In fact, I'm going to put in chat. This is a Google Doc. If you guys would put your there, you can put on your slide if you want to put a picture of your a bio and a picture of you or your whatever your little blurb. You can use as many slides as you want. I'll put them into our showcase as part of the community. That we're multiple educators with different organizations. I was gonna put this as Institute for New Paradigms. Like we all have multiple groups and organizations that we're part of, and there's a lot of overlap, and all these people that are interested in immersive who don't know about those of us here and don't know, there's a lot of people who've never even heard of OpenSim. They have no idea this even exists. So
yeah.
well, now's our time.
yeah, if you guys if you put anything on that document before Sunday, I will make sure it's in that thing. It's got to be finished. I have to be finished with that space by Monday, so I'm going to try and finish it by Sunday night at the latest.
Cool beans.
Yeah, thanks.
And I'll try to get some stuff together too. So let me see. Sean's here, although I think I turned my labels off. I think that's Sean. Sean's been doing, well, he was getting into the 3D web worlds too. Sean, you want to give us an update on what's going on with your life in K-12 and, the world's reopening, I hope?
Bummer.
Oh, hello. Hello?
There,
Did that work?
there it is.
There we
Yeah.
go.
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. Just keep clicking at it. Yeah, thanks. So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff. I'm finishing up school at the, in Brooklyn there, with the Switched Online, and they're talking about sort of doing a summer enrichment program, where part of what I want to do is sort of doing an exploring virtual worlds, which I was kind of doing a club of towards the end. We kind of restarted some clubs, and so I had just started dabbling with that with a couple students that were interested. So I'm going to probably offer that over the summer. But the really kind of big focus of the summer is, I've been, last year I was directing a camp that I've been working at for some years. It's an academic camp for students with dyslexia. And so because it was in Connecticut, we just moved campuses and then, it had to be closed because they weren't allowing boarding camps, which was kind of the majority of what we did. So I went to the board and I proposed an online camp. And so I ended up getting support for that. And we pretty much pretty recently got the go ahead to get the word out. And so basically what it is the main thing of like sort of the camp and is the tutoring. So it's like OG Orton Gillingham tutoring that's specific for students with dyslexia for reading, writing, and spelling. But then the camp always had different activities, right? So you would have, archery and art and dance and whatever else. And so, the idea was to still offer activities that were adaptable to being online. So, I was able to get, we didn't want to scale too big because I think there's a lot of great options out there. But I've been working with, Selby's friend Evie in 3D Web Worlds. And so she was also willing to teach some classes in programming, 3D modeling, building virtual worlds, and also creative writing. And so I'm really excited because, potentially you could have all of them sort of working towards, a common goal. You could have creative writing coming up with sort of this story, and you can create the environment with there and have like the 3D modelers and programmers help, develop and new things to bring in, and then have the building virtual worlds class kind of bring it all together. So I'm not sure exactly how much interest in signing up are. There's definitely a couple kids that are coming in that are interested. And we put in an ad with the IDA, to the International Dyslexia Association, and suddenly we did that yesterday, and already we're getting some interest from that too. So that's exciting to get that going. And the third part of the whole camp too is it's always been about community and collaboration. And so, since they can't be in a physical place, I'm really trying to think about what can I do to really maximize this because, luckily I've been working within these virtual worlds and I know that people may not think it, but I think there's really huge possibilities to build community and collaboration. Um, so in addition, I've scheduled sort of like events. So some of them are like just parent coffee talks where we'll talk about a variety of different things. Um, uh, they do a concert in 3D Web Worlds every Friday where they actually have someone live stream into there and you plug that in and you can have your avatar dance while they live stream. So I've got some of those musicians lined up to actually play like, a Friday afternoon or something for the kids, whoever wants to join. They've got an arcade in there, so the kids can all go in there and do arcades, do like a trivia night, probably like a movie night where we can do a movie share, and like morning meetings and stuff like that to try and keep the idea of a camp and actually not these like siloed tutoring, but actually getting to know the people who are there. And so that's what I've been working on.
Wow, that sounds busy and a lot of fun. And there was a question I had. How well does the music come across?
Yeah,
Like,
it's
hear it
it's
pretty well?
it's pretty good actually. I mean, it's just like, the live stream and you can hear it well and so, everyone pretty much just talks through chat. And what's really cool is there's like this crowd participation because, the musician typically has an avatar in there too who can then see everybody and read the chat. So they're actually like interacting, with the different people and there was one musician the other night who was asking people to throw out like nouns and adjectives and do like a Mad Lib and then threw that into a song. And I thought like that would be really fun for like the kids and to do as well, something like that. Yeah. But I
Wow.
think yeah, it sounds good. And you've got the live video stream. So kind of it's a little busy the screen because you got a chat box over here, you've got the live stream over here, and then you've got, your controls so you can pick your different dance moves. So it does crowd it a little bit, but you can adjust it and it works out pretty good.
That's, are those something that you have to have a password to get into, or can anybody just show up?
Yeah, anyone can. It's actually they make it really easy. You can go in as a guest, or you can log in, and there's an announcements when you first log into anywhere, and typically they have the events right on the announcements. And I kind of like how they phrase it too. It's like take a limo to the event, and it's just a link, and you click on the link, and it teleports you to whichever. And each artist kind of had developed their own stage. So some are kind of like these outdoor beachy areas, and one looks like you're in space, and so they've got different venues that they designed. I plan on doing sort of like a campfire that people can sit around and little canoes and stuff like that.
Oh, wow, that does- that sounds like a lot of fun to try to get to. Um, let's see, I don't think we've heard from Al yet. Al, you want to tell us is how's life starting up for you out in New Jersey? What is going on out there?
Well, we've been in quarantine and the whole state, so I've been pretty much out of commission. I've been doing a lot of gardening. So, the backyard is starting to look pretty good, but been sort of off the grid for a little bit. So I have nothing really to report, except that wherever I can, I use my video production skills as I am this evening. So this is being recorded.
Thank you, Al. You always make us look so good, and we have to get Val back too because she's like a professional voiceover. She's very good. So anyway, well, I'm looking at the time. I think it's just going to be us folks. Couple of things I wanted to ask everybody about, and one of them is in the fall we have a residency, and too bad Selby's not here. I hope everything's going okay with him. He did say he would try to make it, but it's going to be our third annual, and we have residencies at the school that I'm at, and they all require driving in, staying at a hotel, And right now, that's a little bit of a challenge for everybody. So we're really very timely. But it's going to be, I think it's October 10th, which is a Saturday. And it'll just be in the morning. So I am trying to jumpstart our faculty. We have a faculty meeting tomorrow morning and get them to all take a section. And some of you guys got to the last one, or even the last couple. Anybody want to talk about how they went? I know Scott was there, and Scott has some horror stories too, because he actually was an MC. So some of you showed up, but Scott, you wanted to say how that went?
From my perspective, it went. Oh, am I on? Yeah. It went exceptionally well. Am I toggled on?
Yeah, you're on.
Okay, there we go. We had a good crowd for the last one for 2019. We had groups on both Marian and Marian Test, and there were probably, I've got photos, I'd have to count the number of avatars in them, but I'd say there are at least 18, 20 people per group, and a couple of presenters. And the only major technical glitch we ran into was one of the presenters was having problems with her mic, so she ended up just she and I FaceTimed one another, and I just put her next to my speaker. So I did a ventriloquist act. So Susan's voice came out of my avatar. But other than that, it worked fine. I think everybody got a lot out of it. I think it was all in all very, very successful. Mark gave his presentation on gaming, and I think Diane talked about the Open Home site, which is now up and running. For those of you who haven't logged on, you can. And Diane talked about immersive experiences. So I think it was really great. I enjoy them myself. I think it's a great way to exchange ideas, and I'm looking forward to this fall. So yes, put me on the list, Eileen.
And I'm hoping I can convince some others of you to come. What happened too was we had announced it and got a couple of newbies, but most people had at least had some exposure to the VR environment and could get in. So some people were there to help. And I think Al was there too. And I don't know if Jana was there for a while. And
Yes, I think I was.
yes, you were at least, I think you were the first one. I'm remembering the pictures. And
Yep, I would love to go again this time if you need help.
oh, that would be nice. And I'm looking to, it does take a little bit, as Bethany can tell you, and all of you are instructional designers, to bootstrap faculty. I'm sure Jana can say this too, to get them to kind of see the affordances, the quote, air quote, affordances here. So I am going to be working on them. What I did was got this island. That's why I got the 80 people island, and I'm going to be building it out over the summer. And so that we can bring more people in and have it just in one session.
Yeah.
So we're that'll make it easier for all of us. And so what I can say to the faculty, if you can't come the whole time, if you could just come for a half hour. And if I don't get enough faculty, the idea is that they get a chance to meet faculty. But if they can't make it because it is the beginning of a 3-day weekend, if I'm going to see if I can strong arm some of you folks to maybe come in and present. And so if there's any way you have that time, and if nothing else, if you could come in and just meet some of our faculty and students, because we invite the first year students and offer it to others as well. So I'm hoping that we can get some good enrollment. And as a matter of fact, Scott, you presented on this too at a conference.
The conference last fall. And I had a thought which popped in a couple of weeks ago, and I'm meaning to bring up to you. For those faculty members in the program that just cannot manage to get into the VR content, if they have any Web 2.0 presence on anything they would like to present, a web page, a PDF, anything like that, we can always have linked content scattered around for the intermissions where folks can go click on somebody else's project or whatnot and take a look at it when people aren't actually giving presentations.
Eileen, you can always count on me.
Thank you, Al.
And
Al,
Selby,
you've been to all of them.
And so Selby just arrived. Hello, Selby.
Yay,
Oh.
Selby.
All
Hi,
right,
Selby.
Selby. Yeah, of course, me too, Eileen. Anything, I'm putting it on my calendar now. What time is that on the 10th?
Well, it's going to be New York time. Sorry, it's going to be from
That's
about
okay.
9:30 till maybe noon. So
Okay.
that's a little.
That's all right. That's 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. for me. That's fine. I'll just put that
Oh.
down.
Thank you.
I'm up
Well-
early anyway. It doesn't make a difference to me. That's fine.
Oh,
6 a.m. to 9 a.m.
Bethany, you're a charm, and Selby's come to all of these, and I'm going to be asking you to, as you get the ideas, keep on sending them to me. I'm trying to keep notes to the side here because I really want to build that out, and that's kind of what I'm hoping to conclude on this semester too. Thinking the academic year, there's been. The Institute for New Paradigms started a little more than 2 years ago. And the part of how I started it was I went to my provost, my chair at the time. She is now provost, and suggested I wanted to start something. Where do I start in the college? And she suggested I do it off the grid for a while, which gave me more freedom. And what happened to me 2 years ago, I rotated into a program chair position. So I got started, and then I wound up having to pick up all this extra administrative work on top of working with my students. So it's been hard for me to get back to do some of the development work I hoped. So my goal this coming year is to get a team of us together. I think, as Bethany, you've said, we have a learning community here, but get ourselves a little more organized, look at some of what we can contribute, and part of and I'm trying to keep it slim right now so that I'm not asking you to do tons of things, but there are 2 forms. One of them is that newsletter, and I'll keep on sending that out. Right now, it's just me, and so if you fill that out, I can keep that up to date. We'll have that internally among ourselves, and in the newsletter, if you can put in links to, what you do, links to your resumes, links to other things. My hope is that we can start moving the Institute out a little bit more proactively beyond ourselves. And I'll put the link, well, I'm not real good at juggling. I'm 2 different computers right now. But if you could keep on filling that in, if you want me to delete old information, let me know. Sometimes I'm a science person. I just like data. So I keep on liking to see the changes in your life, but if you'd rather just have only the current information, just let me know and I'll erase older lines. But I'm hoping that we can kind of formalize some of the things that I've been doing informally through Google. So if you'd use the newsletter, and I'll send a link out after this meeting, to just update us, put in information that you're willing to share, your email, your resume, updates, anything there so that we can have a community bulletin among ourselves. And the other thing is there's one other form I'll send out again, which was what topics would you like to hear? And I did ask if anyone wants to be on the steering committee, and Al volunteered. We'll get one other person. And Lisa, who isn't here right now, she was kind of a K-12 person. But if the steering committee would spend a little more time looking at what has been assembled, helping us organize things, getting us really ready to go a little bit more prime time. We definitely have ideas. Lots of ways we could grow, but I'm always a little nervous to make sure that we grow with something that we really can deliver. And Al's been wonderful with recording. So we have a lot of good stuff right now. But I'm going to, also too, I noticed in the form where I keep on asking you, what would you like to see and learn, and what could you actually do and show? Because I'm going to ask the steering committee to kind of start looking at that. So we have a lot of talent in this group. But I've been in science ed, science teaching, STEM teaching, VR has been my passion, but it's just one piece. So I'm trying to assemble years and years of work that I have. And everything that I've done is under Creative Commons, and even my SUNY courses. So my goal over the summer is to be sure I get those links out to you guys. And if any of you want to use them in any way possible, please do. But that's part of my goal. And when I saw some of the things you folks were interested in, it kind of inspired me to start really assembling things. So I don't want to send you just a mosh, but that's a piece that I'm working on. But to the extent you have materials you want to share, if you put those in, I guess either in the newsletter, but the newsletter is more internal. The other one is as we get more forward facing. Some of you have things you can do that you'd like us to know about, or if there are things you want to share, we'll start assembling those resources. So I'm just looking at my notes over here. That's kind of what I wanted to say was that I've got a lot of resources I'm trying to share, and I'm looking for people who might want to meet with me informally. We'll go a little more in depth about the logistics, next steps, and get something back to the larger group and over the summer and into the fall so that we can be kind of a little more systematic. And this past year has been so crazy in so many ways, but we all know that's why we really need to, I've been in computers forever, not as a programmer, but just as an avid user. And I love every technology that comes along. It just is so empowering. And I think that's what the world needs right now. So I think I'm preaching to the choir, but I think we have infinite skills and resources to bring to people. And so, but if you could use those two forums to keep on feeding me materials that I can use and that the steering committee can look at, we'll look at, who can maybe do what presentations next semester, next academic year, and we'll look at what kind of things do you want to hear more of. And then we'll look to see what we can actually deliver. So that was just me for a while. I'm going to turn off my mic, and I know Selby always has some really good new things coming out that make all of our worlds a lot more accessible. Selby, you want to tell us something about what's the latest that you're hearing? Because you get every place, and I don't know if you have any new news for us.
Yeah. Well, I'm encountering a lot of activity and interest from educators, including educators in schools, about, of course, distance learning and using virtual worlds for doing that. I passed out, I think, to everybody. If somebody didn't get it, let me know. I gave a note card of links to articles that I have posted in my blog in the last month that are relevant, of interest to educators, and would be of interest to educators, I expect. The sharpest thing that's developing right now is web worlds, and I'm working with two web world developers. Both of them are getting interest from, well, they've already had some interest, and they're getting increased interest from educators. And of course, the advantage of web worlds is they run in a browser, they run in a Chromebook. And so if a school district is passing out Chromebooks, passing out Chromebooks, I guess, that is definitely going to work for them, for the students, and for the school district. And Chromebooks are pretty safe and definitely pretty cheap. So those are the two. And as a matter of fact, the item that is right now most strongly on my mind is 3D Web Worlds. That's one of my web worlds, and you can find both of them on my blog. Links to both of them on my blog. And what has happened very recently, Day Miami, who is a teacher, high school teacher in Virginia, has been creating worlds. Well, I'll get that. I will make sure that something like that is available as a orientation screen. The most recent thing that Day has put in is Jezero, or Jezero. Well, I don't know how to pronounce it, but I'm going to call it Jezero crater, which is a Martian crater. The landing current target for a landing. The vehicle will be launched this July, I believe, and the reason it's so interesting is everybody is pretty sure it was a lake at one time for quite some time, and therefore it would be a good place to look for evidence of past life or even of current life if there is any. And what he has done is put in, and this is for a field trip, for example, he's put in a replica of terrain in that area and a rover. The rover is going to be Persistence. That's the name of the future rover. This rover is animated. So when you come into this world, you take over the control of the rover. And it is also animated in the sense that it runs through some activities of its own. So I would definitely recommend that you look that up, and it's in 3D Web Worlds, and you go and take a look at that. Yes. Because, well, pretty soon I will make a video of it. Right now there's some things that are being done to revise it. It may not be ideally done right now. Day is working to make some improvements. But anyway, the point I'm getting at is schools could have a field trip to Jezero Canyon, Jezero crater, and actually the animated rover. Well, when they get it finished, I think will be exhibiting some of the capabilities of the rover, and it already has the capability of picking something up, which is one of the things that the upcoming rover will be doing. That is, it will be picking up objects and storing them in preparation for a later visit by another rover that will pick up the stuff and return them to the Earth. So and the point, of course, obviously, is that demonstrates what can be done and remember, this is a web world. It is available on a Chromebook or even on a tablet, as well as a computer. Most students would be able to get to it, assuming that they can get to either get to have Wi-Fi at home. That's what I would hope. But if they can go to a library, they can get. I expect they can get Wi-Fi in any library, I would hope, these days. So that brings you sort of up to date as to the newest things I'm thinking about, and there are a lot of new things. So, but I'll shut up from now because that pretty well took a lot of time.
That's great, though, Selby. You always I know it's on my to-do list for the summer too. But is Evie? How is capacity on those islands, and how is she funding them right now? Does she have a fee yet, or how does that work if you want to use them?
On which are you asking about Evie's Islands?
Yeah, or whatever ones you're recommending.
Oh,
And Sean here, I'm afraid you missed him. Sean's been doing a lot of work with his group.
Sean is working. Sean is actually working on several bills there, and also on an activity that involves a musical presentation. Because in Sean's prep school, I guess they have an active music department, and of course you're training students, teaching students how to perform music. You might be glad to have some way of letting them perform in public. Yes. Now, as to, well, I am subsidizing some of what Evie is doing, but and she is providing some free space. I don't know. I'm not paying a whole lot of attention to just what she's doing. She's providing some free space for the purpose of building up. Well, you can easily imagine that this Mars crater should be a free space because it is potentially quite valuable for attracting visitors. As to the cost, I don't know what the costs are, but they should not be very, very high. And I think I don't really know what. Well, the reason I say they shouldn't be very high is there's very little cost. There's not much server cost in a web world because the most of the computation is being done on your computer, on the graphic system on your computer, not on the server. The server is only activated to keep each user's software informed as to what the status of the build of the area. I don't know, but I'm thinking some reasonable number of places, areas, a reasonable amount of space would be available for $10 a month or something.
No, that's good. And I mean, also, I think she's providing a lot of services. Sean, what are you finding in terms of, Sean, what kind of computers are your students coming in to the 3D web from?
It's kind of all over the board. Once we moved over to virtual learning, we had the one-to-one Chromebook program. So at school they were doing that a lot, but as it continued, they went back, and it is an independent school, so most of them have fairly well off. So a lot of them did. There was some families that needed to borrow Chromebooks, and that's what they were using. But other ones were had either Macs or PCs and things like that there. But it's like you do want to make consideration for whoever is sort of the kind of the weakest link. So if kids working, if just a couple kids are using a Chromebook and they can't join in a activity in a virtual world, that's something that needs to be considered. And so, that was like, Selby said, I think the fact that it can run on a Chromebook, and I was running it on there, and sometimes it takes a little bit for it to load up, and typically the first time it's a little slower because it's actually remembering all the cache, and the next time it's a bit easier to get on. But I think you let it sit, just, you're patient with it, and it works, and I was able to, participate, do things on the Chromebook within there, and that was really useful. And Evie and Jamie in there have been really fantastic as far as just anything you need, any kind of support. She was helping. I had a club come in, and she would come in and help work with the students learning how to use the building tools and things like that. So she just makes herself super available, and I've, it's been a really great experience, and it's given me a lot more confidence to sort of offer these things where, I may have only a certain amount of knowledge, and then, I may not know the more advanced things. I know they've got my back to help support with anything, and they've got well done tutorials. So yeah, no, I've been really happy with the experience so far, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how the whole integration with camp works. Because I think like I was saying before last time, it's kind of you bring them in with the fun, and you show them how it can be really enjoyable and immersive, and then we can start building on to some of the more education tools.
Yeah, no, that's good. And I think we have a lot of commitment and passion from EV. Yeah, I think all of us here, we're all quite committed to seeing this and seeing technologies in general be used. So, I think we're getting feedback through Selby there, but I have to actually get ready to go myself. So I want to just thank you all for a good semester. And Bethany, I did take some pictures. I'm not a real good multitasker, so I'll have to find out where I saved them. And I know the minute I turn this off, Microsoft's going to go through an update. So I'm trying to be careful. But I want to thank you all. I'm going to be still trawling for a couple people who want to be on steering committees. I've got 2, but I could use a few more. So we can
I'm happy to help, Eileen.
Oh, good. Thanks. So, I think the different perspectives, too, are important. Bring in some K-12, some instructional design, so that we can have some rich groups. Al's agreed to come and, so that we can look at what we've acquired, what knowledge we've acquired, and ways we can grow. So, but I want to thank everybody for being so good and faithful about coming. Many of you are a lot, and I'm wishing you all summer that we can get outdoors, but do it. I think we'll probably have masks, right? Most of the summer.
Mhm.
And Eileen, thank you for all you do for everyone.
Yeah,
Yes,
thanks, Eileen.
Yes,
definitely.
thank you, Eileen.
Yeah, well, I like to coordinate, and I like working with smart people like all of you guys who are so interesting and have a lot going on. And as you know, sometimes it can be a bit of an uphill battle with virtual things augmented. I mean, in general, we wish that educators were really on board, but innovators generally don't have it easy. So nice to have a community, and it makes me feel valued. Even sometimes it's not always that straightforward. Anyway, I want to thank all of you. Anybody have some closing comments before I leave? But please, guys, stay. Oh, the other thing too, for the fall when I'll be swapping islands in and out. I'd like to see if all of you wouldn't mind giving me some little things to showcase about your work. I'm going to have more space, and I'm not quite sure. I'm not the artist. I have to try to get some artists to help me line things up, but have some places where we can showcase your work, have links to your work, so that when these islands, they'll be able to, learn more about your work as well. So.
Well, on that note, I just put a link in about the XR symposium that we'll have in October on the 10th. Or no, yours is on the 10th. The one for Vicara is doing something on the 20th. So I'll definitely create something for your showcase, Eileen, and anything I can do to help for the 10th, October 10th, I'll totally be happy to help.
That would be wonderful. And I will definitely put the 21st on my calendar as well. So we can all support each other and our different ventures. So, well, I will say goodbye for now. Hang around if you can. And Lucia, thank you for coming. I know this is the middle of the night for you. So I appreciate your making the effort to get here. And,
Actually, only like 1:30 for me.
oh, really? It's 1:30. Where are you now?
I'm in Hawaii right now.
Oh my god!
Oh,
Wait a minute. We're not going to feel sorry.
No, you don't have to.
Yeah, Hawaii's still in lockdown, isn't it? It's quarantine.
Yeah, I've got 2 weeks of quarantine, but it's a nice spot to be quarantined.
Yeah, I totally need a vacation. I want to go there.
Oh boy!
Well, good night, everyone, and have a good
Night,
summer.
everybody, and stay healthy. I'm going to miss
All
you
right. Good
all.
night, everyone.
Good
Okay.
night. You guys have a
See you
great
later.
summer.